The rise of the Indian stock market and the decline of the Chinese stock market seem to foreshadow the future of the global economy. On December 23rd last year, Japan's Nikkei.com put this headline on an article summarizing the Asian stock market for the year. The Indian stock market Sensex index rose 5.9% last year, despite a strong dollar, recording the largest increase among Asian stock markets. The Sensex index is India's leading stock index. On the other hand, China's Shanghai Composite Index fell 15.6% over the same period. Nikkei.com said the entire stock market in China and Hong Kong has been weak due to excessive quarantine and deteriorating US-China relations. The rise of Indian stock markets and the decline of Greater China indices may be a foreshadowing of future global economic and money flows, he wrote. World's third largest economy by 2030. Global investment institutions are spreading the long-awaited theory of India. S&P Global, a global financial information agency, predicted in a report last November the Indian economy will grow at an average annual rate of 6.3% from 2021 to 2030. Surpassing Japan and Germany to become the world's third largest economy. Chetan Iyer, a chief economist at investment bank Morgan Stanley, also wrote in a Financial Times article. In the past 20 years, China has definitely been in the spotlight. But India will be the spotlight for the next 10 years, he said. India is considered one of the biggest beneficiaries of the COVID-19 pandemic. As the global supply chain was shaken by the blockade of major Chinese manufacturing cities, such as Shanghai and Shenzhen, India emerged as an alternative. India's foreign direct investment for fiscal year 2021 to 2022, which ended at the end of March last year, was $21.34 billion, up 76% from $12.09 billion a year ago. The relocation of manufacturing industries to India is being led by big United States tech companies.
Taiwanese consignment production companies such as Foxconn, Wistron, and Pegatron, which produce Apple's iPhone, significantly increased production at their factories in India last year. India's share of Apple's iPhone production has grown from 1.5% to 5% and is expected to rise to 25% by 2025, JP Morgan projects.
Google is also looking for a consignment manufacturer to produce Pixel phones, which have been produced in China, in India, and Amazon makes Fire TV players in Chennai, India.
PC maker Dell notified consignment manufacturers of its policy to move 50% of its production in China abroad by 2025.
Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, China, and India come next.
India is also stepping into the semiconductor field by taking advantage of semiconductor competition between the United States and China.
If a semiconductor factory is built, the Indian government will come up with a plan to support up to 50% of the maximum investment fund and work hard to attract foreign companies. Taiwan's Foxconn announced this September of last year that it would jointly invest $19.5 billion with India's Vedanta Group to establish a semiconductor plant in Gujarat, the hometown of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Natarajan Chandrasekaran, chairman of Tata Sons, the holding company of the Tata Group, also said in a Nikkei interview last December, "We will invest $90 billion in the semiconductor field over the next 5 years." India is rushing into the semiconductor field to build its own supply chain independent of China. There is a strategy to procure the semiconductors needed for various products in the automobile and electronic fields on its own. In China, there are concerns that China may lose the role of world's factory to India. After World War II, the manufacturing centers of Asia shifted to Japan, China, and the four Asian dragons of South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong at intervals of 20 to 30 years, but now it is India's turn. Suti Uwan, Deputy Director of the Institute of World Economics and Politics of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, said in the short term, Vietnam and other Southeast Asian countries will put pressure on China's supply chain. But India is a bigger challenge in terms of population and economic size. India's median age is 28, population advantages in earnest. India's strength is that it has a huge population and market that can replace China. It has a population of 1.4 billion, almost indistinguishable from China. And unlike China, its population continues to grow. The median age, that is, the age of the person in the middle, when the entire population is arranged in order of age, is 28.4 years. That median is 10 years younger than China. Another advantage is that the number of people who can speak English in India is around 100 million.
As the economy continues to grow rapidly, the size of the middle class is also growing rapidly, and the consumer market is also expanding. S&P Global said, in the 10 years of the 2020s, the real income growth rate per household in India will reach an average annual rate of 5.3%.
So, India could become the largest consuming country among the G20 or 20 major economies.
Forecasts from the international community predict that India in the near future will become an economically powerful country and, at the same time, a strong country in terms of military power.
The United States and the West hope that India, which has a democratic system, will grow into a country that is prosperous and fulfills its responsibilities in the international community.
We hope that India will become the world's factory and become a prosperous country. The exciting story of India's future continues in Part 2. Thank you for watching the video, The World's Factories Moving from China to India Part 1, provided by History and Current Events. I'm Rebecca, Olivia, Abigail, Jody, Lydia, Julia, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.